Got some breaking news out of the Northern Territory. It's just announced tougher rules for interstate arrivals who have recently completed hotel quarantine. Those who have completed 14 days of hotel quarantine in another state or territory will be required to undergo further COVID testing. That's after a case at a South Australian hotel led to Melbourne's current COVID outbreak. The Chief Minister, Michael Gunner, spoke a short time ago.
Today, I can confirm that the Northern Territory, through our Acting Chief Health Officer, will in the coming days give a new health direction which will provide even greater protection to Territorians from the increasing threat of new COVID-19 variants. From later in the week, any recently repatriated Australian who completes their 14 days mandatory quarantine in another state before travelling to the Territory will be required by law to get a further test here on day 17. To be clear, what this means is that anyone who's just completed their 14 days quarantine interstate, who then travels to the Territory on day 15, 16 or 17, will be directed to get the test on day 17. And to double down, if you are in the Territory from effectively day 18 to 28, we will still require what we call a day 17 test. This is a direction that reduces the risk to Territorians from interstate hotel quarantine. I acknowledge it will be an inconvenience, but we've always said that we'll do whatever it takes to keep Territorians safe. We're seeing this virus continue to adapt and change, and new variants emerge. We have to adapt with it and keep getting better to stay ahead of it. This new direction will give us protection against the exact scenario we've seen send Melbourne into lockdown again. That outbreak started from a returned international traveller who completed their 14 days quarantine in South Australia and returned a negative test on day 14 before heading over the border and spending time.
OK, so breaking news out of the Northern Territory. Let's get some analysis with Mark Kenny, Professor at the ANU's Australian Studies Institute. What do you make of that? It's understandable, I guess, given that the Victorian dramas were born out of an individual out of South Australia's quarantine.
Yeah, that's right. So essentially what I guess Northern Territory government is saying is that the fact that you've been in quarantine represents a risk factor in itself. Perhaps not a big one, but we know that this Victorian case, this outbreak in Victoria, derives from someone who acquired the vaccine in quarantine. I mean, ideally quarantine isn't for that. Ideally quarantine is for making sure that infection doesn't get into the community. And it's certainly not ideal for someone to go into quarantine without the virus and come out of it with it, not knowing, and travel into the community. So it's not particularly surprising, really, that when you have outbreaks like this and the devastating impact they have on individuals' lives, on the state economy, on confidence, on all the sort of flow-on effects that come from that, and that's leaving aside the possibility of serious illness and death. It's not surprising that we see confidence dropping and restrictions coming up again.